The Chicago Bears are about to look very different against the Minnesota Vikings this weekend. What's up? This is Sports Talk Bears. I'm Sean, your host. Before I get into this video, I want to know what you think is going to happen on this game on Sunday. Personally, I think the Bears are going to win this coming away. I don't think it's going to be one of these tight single-score games. Let me know what you think. I want to know who you think is going to win this game and what the score is going to be. We'll have fun chopping it up in the comments, and it also gives us something to look back on, see who's right. But let's get to the video. I want to talk about how Ben Johnson, he just said something about this Vikings matchup this Sunday. Lots to cover in this video. We are a different team than we were in week one. So is Minnesota. So this will be a completely different matchup as far as I'm concerned. And you're looking at the Bears also living in a place at their new mantra. It's changed. Good, better, best is awesome. I love it. But the new thing that's kind of catching on within the locker room is the quote, live in the now. This was introduced by wide receivers coach Antoine Randall L. More on what that means in a moment as well. I'm going to get to that. So let's get to the meat of this. The NFL, it's a numbers game. Many times you can see how your team's performing by checking out the stats in certain areas. This offense is ascending. It's not even firing on all cylinders just yet, but the Bears are number one in the NFL when it comes to something explosive plays, big plays, and they're making them at a clip of 8.67%. Now, where does that put them here in comparison to other teams? These are top teams. That's right above teams like the Bills at 7.56%, the Ravens, the Rams, crazy enough, they're at 7.11. That's a full 1.5% lower than the Bears on big plays. Let's break it down a little more. You're looking at 44 rush plays above 10 yards. The closest is the Bills with 34, 10 less rush plays above 10 yards, 34 receptions of over 20 yards, 78 total big plays already, 10 more than the next team. I mean, I knew there was going to be a Ben Johnson effect. I just knew it, but this is just absolutely staggering. And the offense, it's not even opened up all the way yet. This is a completely different team than the team that got ready to face the Vikings in week one and really crap the bed towards the end. Maybe I shouldn't have said crap the bed, but anyways, that's where I'm at with that first game and where I'm going to go here. Something has flipped with this team, right? And the good news is that we now see that the Bears have figured something out. They now have the ability to close out close games, more specifically one-score games. And if you remember, that was their Achilles heel last year, right? And it continued to be in week one versus the Vikings. Things have now changed, and now it's absolutely flipped. The Vikings are now the ones who are doing poorly in close games. Let's break that down. The Bears are now 4-1 in one-score games. That's with a 6-3 record. 4 of those have been in one-score games, and that's after being 3-7 in those situations last year. The Vikings this year, they're 3-3 in single scores so far in 2025. So much better record. And it kind of feels like these teams are going in opposite directions coming into this matchup. They were 9-1 under O'Connell last year in one-score margins. They finished 14-3 on the year. So once again, like Ben just said, we are a different team than we were week one. So is Minnesota. So this will be a completely different matchup as far as I'm concerned. What a difference a year makes, right? And also, this is a fully new Bears team. You could argue it's a fully new franchise because we're going to get to this new mantra now, and it comes from Antoine Randall L. This is the receivers coach and assistant head coach that was brought over from the Lions with Ben Johnson. And come to find out, he talks to the whole team on his own on Friday every single week. And this new phrase, it's a mantra in the locker room now. Now all the attention has been on Ben Johnson's good, better, best. He chants it in the locker room after a win. I've got the dreaded man cold. Please, please give me some grace on that. But him doing good, better, best, that can be traced all the way back to his time in high school with his high school coach. So it's a really cool thing that Ben Johnson has instilled. Really fun to watch. I don't know about you, but I watch all the post-game locker room posts. But what's actually catching on, what's actually having a big effect on this team, it's turning a new page away from the past. And Randall L., he sums it up best with live in the now. No more living in the past, obviously. Time to chart a new course. And Johnson said that this isn't the result of something he told the team either. He's giving the full credit on Randall L. This is from Ben. I can't take credit for that because really, Antoine Randall L. is such an integral part of what we're doing here. Really, the entire coaching staff is doing a phenomenal job. They really are. And specifically about Randall L. That's something he kind of struck on a few weeks ago, and it's really starting to carry through for us. He's talking about you start with this hope going into the season, and you start pulling away with some of these wins, and you start believing in what we're doing and the progress we're making as a team. The next step is knowing what's going to happen next. I think he's been the one behind that movement, moving us forward. Caleb Williams in the presser after the game, he just said, yes, we know we are real. It's a completely different mindset for this game. And SI, they went through some things today that I really want to share. And they did an article on the 10 most important stats so far. Further shows why this is a fully different team as we come in to face the Minnesota Vikings. This is from SI. I always want to give them credit. I'm just going to kind of touch on some of these things. So 14 sacks, obviously. Caleb Williams has only been sacked 14 times through 9 games. He led the league with 68 sacks last year. He went from a 10.79% sack rate to a 4.56% sack rate, and he's shown that he's an absolute escape artist. This offensive line is greatly improved. That is a huge sign of why this is a different Bears team. Let's go to the next thing. 183.4. What does that represent? That's an average rushing yards per game. Can you believe it? 183.4 rushing yards per game. The Bears offense in the rushing department has been absolutely on fire in recent weeks. 183.4 yards per game since the bye week, and that's after averaging only just over 100 yards on the ground in the first 4 games before it. Just massive improvement. And Ben Johnson's teams, they are built on running the ball well. We've got our own, Knuckles and Sonic, I guess you would call it. We have DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. I'm going to talk about this weekend some of the names that you guys came up with for our Chicago Bears rushing duo. Some of them were pretty funny. We'll chop those up. But, Monangai looks like the man, one of my favorite players on this team. Let's get to the next number. 4 game-winning drives. I think we've already talked about that. 4 game-winning drives already. Caleb Williams is ascending, and it's absolutely fantastic. Another number, really important, 538 snaps with this injured secondary. Nashawn Wright, he has played like an absolute Iron Man. I mean, he hasn't been perfect. He's only on a $1.1 million deal for 1 year with the Chicago Bears, but he's ended up playing 95% of the team's defensive snaps this season, and he has responded with how many interceptions does he have? He's 3rd on the team with 3 interceptions. From a guy that was an afterthought, a guy that was brought on as a backup, he has played his tail off. That should be recognized. 20 takeaways by the defense, absolutely ridiculous, and we're only halfway through the season. They've intercepted 4.69% of passes thrown by opposing quarterbacks this year. That ranks first place by far in the NFL. We already talked about the number 78. 78 big plays leading the NFL. 34.41, one of the most underrated stats for the Bears this year. They've only allowed their opponents to convert on 34.41% of their third downs. That's number 6 in the league. This defense is way better than we think it is or what they've shown. Cannot wait to get the full complement of our secondary players back. This is going to be fantastic. A number I don't like, 8.2. That's penalties per game. Got to clean that up. I don't want to beat a dead horse. That has been an awful part of this season. Hopefully this is from the offensive linemen kind of still learning this scheme, learning the blocking schemes, learning the cadence. Caleb Williams delivering proper cadence. That's even been a conversation. Not a good number, 8.2. Let's just go to the next. 559 receiving yards. That's what Rome Odunze already has. And that gives him the second most receiving yards from members of this vaunted coming into the season 2024 NFL draft class. Only Ladd McConkey has more. Granted, you have the injury to Malik Neighbors. You've got really the underachievement of Harrison. You guys, if we had to do it again, the right pick at number 10 will always be Rome Odunze. And then we've got the record at 6-3. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought earlier when we were talking about this running game that we needed a new running back, that this running game would be averaging almost 200 yards per game after this bye week? Cannot wait for this game against Minnesota. Let me know what you think the results of this game are going to be in the comments, and I will be here tomorrow with being your source for Chicago Bears news, and I hope it's a little fun too. You can go to ESPN for Polish. We're going to have our little community here and chop it up on the daily. So bear down. Can't wait for the Minnesota game, and I will talk to you tomorrow. See ya.